So another method of making our beads is with the coil technique, using a coiled piece of clay. How do we make a coiled piece of clay so that we can get this kind of beadwork right here? Right? Well, what you want to do first is get your clay. Then you just want to kind of go ahead and start making a little snake out of it, and you're pressing and pulling, pressing and pulling, pressing and pulling until you kind of can get much of it there. And the mistake that people make when you're trying to get a coil is going, forward and backwards, forward and backwards, and that's a problem, because then you start wedging it within the knuckle, between the knuckles right in here, and that's how you get a lumpy snake. But I found that if I start from the palm and I gently press forward and try to avoid using my fingers, but mostly use my palms, and just go one way and then let go, that I can kind of keep a nice coiled snake in here. So yeah, this is what we're doing. And remember, you don't want the clay to be thicker than half an inch. Not too thin either, but half an inch, maybe the size of your pinky, a little bit smaller than your pinky, it's good enough, really. You can use both palms. Now this piece is very long, so I'm just going to cut it in half, just so I can show you. Alright, so we got something here. Now, one simple one is to just curve it, right? We can just go ahead and do a piece right here, and while the clay is moist. And then as I go around, I'll stop it right there so it stops perfectly, right? So it's like the same thickness, double and double. And then we don't need to really, just press it a little bit, not too hard, but just press it a little bit, and shake it like that a little bit. And then what we want to do is, right here on the two tips, is we just want to smear it a little bit right there. So here, see, it's been smeared or smoothed out. And then over here, I'm just going to smear it like that too. And that's it. Sure, you can put some dots, or you can put some scored lines in there. But this is already one bead done. Okay. For something more ornate already, where maybe you just want to make a lot of these, is let's see. Let me get this going here. See how it's kind of getting lumpy there, so I gotta fix that. Okay, so I can also, again, thinking about how big to make the hole for the string to go in there, I can also do this, where I'm just wrapping around like that. And if I wrap it tight enough, then I can do a little smearing right there, a little smearing right here. Okay. This could be already one piece right there. It's already one bead right there. Yeah. With the coils, you really could experiment with line and make a pretzel, or make a, cross them over. Let me see, can I even make, I can almost make like a knot, but again. And then over here I'm just going to take it and then smear it. And then over here I'm going to go ahead and smear that. Don't really need to smear all of the other ones. It's already entangled right in there. Okay, this could be a nice little piece right there. Right. Let me make another one right here for the coil. Maybe some room. Okay. It's already getting lumpy. Let me see. So this is fairly thin, but yeah, you can just start, you know, if the clay starts to crack, then it's getting dry, and it's getting dry because it's been in your hands and you're touching it a lot, and so your hand's absorbing the moisture. So every now and then, don't wet the clay. It's more like get a moist sponge and moisten your hands, and then keep playing with the clay. Okay, but let's see. I could do other things. I could, let me see, I could probably maybe experiment going in here like this. I don't know what design I'm doing. I'm just playing around. And then I could leave that hole there, and let me see, what else can I do? I can maybe play like, yeah, or maybe I can just do that, and maybe I can do another piece. Well, let me see. I've got that. I can do this. Blend this in. Now, if your piece gets a bit more complicated like this, and the clay is drying on me. You know what? It's not working. And that's the good thing about playing. This is not working. So don't be afraid. If it's not working, to start it again. You know, and because it's fairly thin, I wouldn't really worry too much about the air pockets right now when you're kind of rolling this and smashing it together, because it's not super thick, so the air can escape. Let's try this again. Okay, let me see. I don't have really a design that I'm working on, so maybe I want to do a double coil. And then maybe do that, and that could be a bead right there, and I'll just push it together, and then, you know, I can definitely put the string right in through here, so that's good. Maybe I need to make it just a little bit bigger, but that's pretty good. It fits in there, and this could be put on like a bead. But what I want to do, and you know, we can also push it a little bit. We can also make it a shape. It doesn't have to be round just because the coil is round. So maybe I want this to be somewhat triangular. At that point, I got to decide which side is the side that people are going to look at, this side or this side. So this kind of looks nice. So I'm going to make this side the part that I'm going to smear together now in this triangular coiled piece. And that's what I'm going to get my spatula, and I'm going to smooth out the back, just so that way it can stick together and not move around, and it gives it some strength. Because sometimes when these coil pieces or these coil beads get too elaborate, they can really break easily. Okay. And the other thing too, if you smear back here and you're like, yeah, but I kind of like the design and I wish the design was in the back as well, is that, yeah, you can come in here with a sharp edge tool, and maybe, you know, you could, you know, lightly design back here the piece that you had, the coils that you had in the back. Maybe use your needle. So it kind of has a hint of what's on the other side. But this is the part that would be showing. This is the part that people would see. Okay?